What up, bros and hoes? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, wait, I always forget I gotta press this shit. Oh.
Time to tip the scales.
Good morning, y'all. Lonk, thank you for the 13 months. I might play a Trials of Mana demo. Not today, or like not right now, but maybe later on. Also heard the Resident Evil 3 demo is out for like Australia or something, or like a day early for them for some reason. I ain't that desperate to play it, so I'll wait till it's out for me. I ain't gonna make a new account and all that stuff. But yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Don't, it's a waste of time. It ain't the Final Fantasy VII remake demo. If it was that, then I would make an account.
Time to tip the scales.
Morning.
Fresh for Maggio, thank you for the 4 months. Rightful Pancakes for the first time sub. Blue Spirit with the 9 months. Appreciate it, guys. I'm not even gonna play that many Smash games because like 30, 11, 25 starts in 35 minutes. The Fiends will probably be on still. Because you know, no school and shit, right? For a lot of people. The Real Dr. Doof, thank you for the sub. John Con Boy, thank you for the first time sub as well. What up, Austin? Lavish. Iron Man time.
Time to tip the scales.
Yeah, I saw the Bleach stuff too. My brother's been very excited. To say the least. You'll hear it when he comes down. I won't have to say anything.
Time to tip the scales.
Good morning, smile.
Damn, he got fucked.
Bet you didn't see that.
Alright, yeah, young little morning zero to death. Oh, he hit that button.
I will keep going.
Raptor Claw, thank you for the 6 month, oh actually 3 month reset, excuse me. Maroon Junebug with the 23 months, and
Nairo,
Seth, thank you for the 510 bits. Yo, I actually got out of it. Huh, the heck? That was weird. My game just lagged, or like on OBS as well.
Hope you're doing well. Now,
I had a little freeze there.
home because of this virus shit. Stay safe, homie.
Yo, it's Crispy. Thank you for the 6 months, man. European stream. He said, well, I hope you're doing well. Now able to work from home because of this virus shit. Stay safe, homie. Yo, same to you too, man. Same to you, dude. I got my Toby or Obito mask. Anytime I go outside, I'm chilling. Well, I mean, Bleach's ending is the way it is because it was a long like arc, but then they had to like rush it. So I'm sure it's not gonna be exactly, you know, like or like page by page. They're definitely gonna. Ew, that was weird. You heard the spin dashes while he was getting launched away. Oh, he's coming, chat. He has to say a word.
Time to tip the scales.
He's charging. I can tell he's building it up. He's not even blinking. Yo. Yo, just say whatever you want to say, man. Joe Average Gamer, thank you for the 4 month resub. Multi Boy, thank you for the 25 months. And Taco, thank you for the 3 months. I'm doing good this morning, man. I'm doing good. Yeah, he's making it too awkward in here, yo. It's like I have like a lurker but like a lurker in the chat, but he's like actually in my house and in my room. Oh yeah, 2 more days till Animal Crossing, y'all. So y'all start catching them bugs and building and whatever y'all doing. And then there's fucking Doom. Go to hell.
Time to tip the scales.
Hey Nairo, any tips on beating Fox with Wolf?
Typically throw out a lot of hitboxes because Fox will run in a lot. And if he gets hit by Sour Spots and moves, he usually just gets comboed like Sour Spot and Nair into that. Oh. What you doing, bro?
Time to tip the scales.
Hi Smile.
Matcha Latte, thank you for the 14 months.
Is that all?
Boom,
18
boom,
months, baby.
boom.
Hashtag with
But yeah, 2-framing is also, you know, you can try to 2-frame him as well. Like the hard part for Wolf in that matchup is that you could get 2-frame down smash, or just straight up just down smash before you grab the ledge. And yeah, that could be annoying, but like neutral can be pretty hard for Fox. Está bien. Shine Mark, thank you for the 18 months, by the way. Está bien. Toyota, está bien. How do I do Ness versus Snake? As Snake? Yeah, the PlayStation thing is like, is at 12. It's like a video or some shit. Kohiko, thank you for the 48 months. Are any of y'all going to Miku Expo? Ain't no expo, no, ain't nothing happening anymore. Outside is just outside. It's a whack ass level.
Tip the scales.
Are you hyped for the PS5?
I can't be hyped for it because I don't know anything about it. But that's what this video is probably gonna get me hyped for, you know. We'll find out after.
Time to tip the scales.
They gotta add, I don't expect them to really have like any like game announcement except for maybe like one. They gotta have something to like, you know, lead the pack for PS5 or like, you know, start
the first
PS5 stuff. I don't know what the fuck it'll be though. Maybe GTA 6? I don't know. Bloodborne 2? Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 already? Nah, that's too simple.
Hope you're keeping safe, Nairo and moi.
Death Stranding 2? The Witcher 4. I think they actually are making a Witcher 4. Like that was like announced, kind of like just like out of nowhere. No video or anything like that. They just said that they're working on it. What are you doing?
Time to tip the scales.
Excited for PS5?
There was something where there was like a slight cutoff, even on my headphones. It only happened once, yeah. But it doesn't feel like anything's like delayed or anything like that.
You ever been woke up in the morning by an earthquake? Just got woke up a few hours ago by a magnitude in Salt Lake City. What a cursed past few weeks, Lamau. Also, completely unrelated, but I just finished the main story in Explorers of Sky.
Time to tip the scales.
You ever been woke up in the morning by an earthquake? There was like one earthquake ever in this area. And that was like mad long ago, and it was so small that it was like a meme.
No, it was this morning.
There we go.
When Bleach got announced, bro. Eisenson smash.
Gosh. Here we go.
Time to tip the scales.
Enjoy your streams and hope you're doing well.
There it was. Queen. Queen Boogles, thank you for the 7 months. Power to the players, thank you for the 13. Also, yeah, like I said, it's only been like one earthquake. New Jersey is like nothing happens here. It's like boring as fuck and everything, but we don't get like tornadoes or earthquakes and stuff. It has like this like imaginary bubble around it. Ooh, a waffle diddle. And also, you finished the main story in Explorers of Sky. Hey, now that game is clean. Echo the Dolphin. They're gonna talk about how, like, the hardware, the PS5, and then show that from a they're gonna show a Capcom game. No, that's Cap. Some good wolf diddle at 11 in the morning. I didn't expect that. Here's no jump.
Nairo,
Oh, I fucking turned around. I did up air, back air. Damn it. Could have possibly died.
Time to tip the scales.
What? I can't even complain. Like, damn, that was smashing so good. Now I can just do it like right after. I don't know how that back air missed, but alright. Missed attack, missed attack. Almost. Woo! Aizen. Keo, thank you for the 9-month resub, dude. And Matobi gifted a sub to Mushiba. Bless you, dude. You're in Morris County. Ooh. Be safe, yo. I think there's like some CV stuff happening around that area.
Time to tip the scales.
A Rated X Flash. What up, dude? How you guys doing? Are you guys normally at this hour? And then also at 1 AM?
Time to tip the scales.
Hey chat, I got some info on the next DLC character. Hello? Hi Mr. Sakurai, you're gonna send your ninjas on me? Oh god, oh foo.
Now that really sizzles.
Ganon die fight a busted like retweet and follow.
Dosta. Oh.
What are you looking at?
The Killer
Just got
DJ.
some old PS1 games such as Mega Man Legends and Resident Evil games. Any other old PlayStation games I should look for?
Also,
Time to tip
old
the scales.
PS1 games such as Mega Man Legends, the Resident Evil games, any old PlayStation games I should look for. Mega Man X4. I'm trying to think of anything else. Well, I mean, a lot of games are like out in like current gen stuff as well, so I'm like trying to think of like stuff that isn't. Maybe like in Silent Hill.
I've got your back.
March 8, thank you for the $1. He said, tell your brother that the last arc of the Bleach manga sucks if he hasn't read it. No, he's read it. He's read it, but it was also rushed at the same time. This gives it a chance to actually redeem itself. Okay, I think I can up smash his actually. Alright, here we go, here we go. Oh, I'd be tight. Wow, this is like a very unfortunate stock for him right now. All right, he keeps jumping. All right, see, look, I've been doing a lot of smash attacks and stuff. He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump. Oh my god, dude, how did I miss that? So I conditioned him by doing them smash attacks. I conditioned him to jump. Now he's rolling because he knew I was going for backers. Oh, that's it. Está bien, but yo está más bien. Have you ever felt stuck on your skill? Dude, everybody does. Nobody's like constantly getting better. Eventually people will hit walls, may start to struggle more, have a lot more close sets, and then break through again.
Watch the flow of my movements as I demonstrate.
Our bonds give me strength.
Oh. Damn. Marche, thank you for the 3 gifted subs, dude. Appreciate it.
Now, return to
Thank you, man. The stream went live. Well, I mean, it starts at 12, so I don't really gotta prepare right now. I got like 20 minutes, so.
Watch the flow of my movements as I demonstrate.
Is he dead? Oh my god, he actually died.
Focus on stretching your back. Now return to your original position.
watch the flow of my movements as I demonstrate.
Damn.
While exhaling,
Jesus.
bend forward and touch your toes with both hands.
Wow.
Now, return.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm not doing any of the gifted subs. I'm not doing any of the gifted sub stuff for today. I don't know why it went back on. I could have sworn I turned it off. I'm not doing it right now. I'm gonna do it in a normal stream because it resets later on.
Time to tip the scales.
Your wolf could be a tournament character for you, but you out here playing. What's good?
I mean, I use Wolf back at fucking Big House. Don't worry, you guys get your points back. But yeah, if you want to use it later on, you can. Okay, every time you stream, like the cap, resets. So if I give 3 subs right now, and then stream later on, because I'm not gonna be streaming the entire time right now. Once the thing ends, I'll, you know, talk to the chat for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be ending. And when I come back, it'll reset. So later on. Sorry. It starts in 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, I can use Wolf. It's probably he's leaning towards maybe using Wolf as like a secondary. It's just that it doesn't really cover fighting against like Pikachu. I think it probably does better than Palutena at least, but still like a very annoying matchup. Mario? 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 Oh. I got you, bro. I got you. Mario?
Is that all?
Alright, I think he's gonna roll. Never mind, Dr. Buck with an 18-month. Mario does decent against Pikachu. Like, good enough. But I use Zero Suit against Pikachu. Pikachu should be fucking up Zero Suit.
Time to tip the scales.
Yo, Sohi, thank you for the 16 months. Now, Mars uses Zero Suit against Pikachu. Or like, he's been using Zero Suit again against Pika, or like Esam and stuff, because he knows he'll just beat him. Or like, so far he's beat him more times than lose to him. He's lost to him like once, I think, or twice. But he's beat him like 4 times. Damn. Wolf Ditto Resident Sleeper. I like this matchup. Or like, it's cool. It's cool. Better than like some zoning characters. These characters go at it.
I am the fell dragon Grima. Who dies first?
Damn.
Time to tip the scales.
How are things going, my dude?
Who said that? Silent Belmont, thank you for the 13-month resub. Oh, that's it. Oh,
Time to
never mind.
tip the scales.
Let go, boy. Wow, we both up smash.
You're good, but I'm better.
Good card. Alright, I'll do like 2 more matches. Or I'll probably have enough time to do 2 more matches, and then we can start.
Time to tip the scales.
We start swapping over. Samus went to space and found the fucking yellow rat. Then she then realized she was fucked. And then she started calling for help. Wait. I was like, I thought your title said P5S for so long. Oh. That's why. Some people were mentioning Persona earlier. I was like, why do they keep mentioning Persona? Or like, what kind of Persona review? Now I get it. That was unneeded for me to go that far off. Oh, he's dead? Oh, he dead.
Time to tip the scales.
PS5 hype.
My wolf plays better in the morning. Proto, thank you for the 15 months. Leave him alone. You gotta start head bopping, make my headset fall. One more game. Playing Dragon Quest 8, is it any good? Oh yeah, it's awesome, dude. It's amazing. The beginning could be a little hectic. In terms of like early game bosses and stuff could be a little annoying because they're kind of tanky and shit. But it gets better. It gets better when you get more teammates and stuff shortly after. Yeah, PS5, PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation 5. Are you playing on the 3DS or are you playing on the PlayStation one? PlayStation 1 got the orchestra music, which is a lot better, but the 3DS one has more content, or like new content. PS2? Enjoy, my dude. You mean Switch and PS4? Now we're talking about Dragon Quest 8. I mean, Dragon Quest 11 is on 3DS, only in Japan. Damn, we playing Dragon Quest on PS2? Yeah, that's a bad counterfeit. Hey, me next time I fight too. Nah, I only played Dragon Quest 8 and 11. Nice. Try Saint Twister. Oh yeah, Tim, oh yeah. Alright, GG's Echo. That was fun. I could feel how much you tried for that F tilt, but shit, man. Ban you go. Elizabeth.
Nairo, I want to enter Neifu Wars even though I'm not that confident in my skill, mainly against Wolf. I play Samus and ZSS and have a hard time with either of them against Wolf. Do you have any advice? Also, happy 9 months.
Hey, thank you for the 9 months, Elizabeth. I'll say regardless if you're confident or not, or if you're not confident, or if you are confident in your skill for anyone, definitely enter. You know, there's nothing to lose. If you're already planning to play Friday night or like that Friday night, then you know, might as well. Who knows? You'll play somebody. Maybe somebody you play, you'll have a good set, regardless win or lose. You might find somebody new to like practice, and you can ask the person like, "Was there anything I was going for that was like obvious and all that?" And you know, go from there. And they might give you some advice, even though it's Wi-Fi. You can still point out some habits, like I guess like for example, like this guy I played, the wolf. He was rolling in a lot after like tech scenarios if he missed a tech, so that's why I kept doing like 4 throw into reverse F smash with confidence, because most of them landed or worked because I just knew. Based off other interactions, I was gonna do that, so it worked a lot. Danny, thank you for the 8-month resub. Chris, awesome, thank you for the sub. Hayden, first time sub. Miu Jinshi. Oh my god, dude, I'm messing up your name. Jinshi. Miu Jinshi. My bad, dude. I messed up your name like 20 million times. But you know I'm talking to you. Thank you for the 41 months. It's about to show up right after. Obviously I'm gonna turn off notifications for the video or like during this.
PS5 is today. Nairo Hypers.
I can't like even like full screen it, I guess, until it's 12 o'clock. Oh. Oh no! I double clicked by mistake.
I am the fell dragon Grima. Who dies first?
Whoops. Hold on, let me go back online if I get, just in case I get banned, so I could waste the time.
And then just switch to the browser saying you're up.
Time to tip the scales.
And then once 2 minutes, just refresh and.
Alright, just give me a second. Cager, thank you for the sub. Keon, 12 months. Z Sans, thank you also for the 12 months as well. Right.
Who dies first?
Because I think I might be banned.
Safe from the Rona?
So I'm just trying to like. Oh no. Okay, we're good. Okay. Huh. Okay. So you say you just want me to have it up?
Yep. Make sure your camera looks good and stuff like that.
It's not covering the entire screen. That's because there's URL cut up. Boy, you really just responded to my message from like a week ago, and you just said LOL while you're in my chat.
Time to tip the scales.
I just saw my phone. That was the last time. Alright, give me a second, chat. Big Kite, thank you for the sub, dude. Thank you for the first time sub. Let me start muting the music. It's about to start in 1 minute. I can't full screen it. I can't full screen it right now because it's like a premiere thing. So once it actually starts, I'll be able to actually full screen it. So that's why it's like this. Look at the chat. Let's go. Heart, 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 heart. Prince of Persia. Yeah, that's mad random. Why would they show that here? Uncharted. Bloodborne.
I hope this isn't disappointing and like it's like just like a guy talking for 15 minutes and they don't show anything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared of that.
I mean, remember
the way that they worded it, the road to PS5. Like
remember that one PSX where they just had like
nothing. They
had the couch where they were just talking and shit. They go, that was the worst thing ever. Holy shit. Let me refresh. Oh well, it just switched. I saw. It said premiere will begin shortly. That PSX where they just all were on the couch talking. That was the worst one. I cannot believe. That was the year after they showed Uncharted. Oh.
Yeah. Full screen, changed source to full screen.
Wait, let me make this like halfway.
Yeah, there.
Alright.
You change the source?
Yes, sir. I'm just making sure it's like... I don't know if it's perfect though. Because like not much is happening on this screen.
I mean, does it look like it's a dead center?
Yeah. It's just that like you see how it ends right here.
No, it's because you're still on the URL cutout. Like lock that. Just lock it.
No, well, let me see it.
No, lock it.
Okay. No, I just want to see how the other one looked. Okay, there's like no sounds. I think. Let me double check. Oh fuck. Clapping. You wanna see?
Yeah, just ask people how you sound.
Alright, chat, how do I sound with this channel guide music? Let me move this over real quick. Also, let me turn off notifications because I'm gonna turn off notifications during this. I don't want to go back and forth and hear Robin fucking. Okay. Alright, yeah, like I was saying, I'm turning off notifications. I don't want to hear Robin screaming her fucking lungs out throughout the whole thing. This fruity ass countdown. You think that's good?
What?
Good?
Make it like 20%.
Okay.
Hi. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the talk that we had planned for GDC. But we do have some super exciting news about PS5. And
are those like mannequins?
Bring that to you and the one and only Mark Cerny. Without further ado, over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Jim.
Oh no, they're moving.
There will be lots of chances later on this year to look at the PlayStation 5
Make it 25,
games.
a little higher.
Today, I want to talk a bit about our goals for the PlayStation 5 hardware and how they influenced the development of the console.
I think like the video, the
You all know,
countdown
I'm a
was
big
way
believer
louder
in
than these
console
guys. That's why.
generations. Once every 5 or 6 or 7 years, a console arrives with substantially new capabilities. There's a lot of learning by the game developers, hopefully not too overwhelming, and soon there's games that could never have been created before. Now, it used to be that as a console designer, you'd somehow intuit what would be the best set of capabilities.
Bro, he's actually like
console,
whispering.
and then build it in complete secrecy. For the PlayStation consoles, that period lasted through PlayStation 3, a powerful and groundbreaking console, but also one that caused quite a lot of heartache, as it was initially difficult to develop games for.
Okay.
So, starting with PlayStation 4, we've taken a different approach, roughly centered around 3 principles. The first of these is listening to the developers, which is to say that a lot of what we put into a console derives directly from the needs and aspirations of the game creator.
I don't think they're going to show
We
much
definitely
games,
do
or
have some ideas
maybe
of our
one
own, but
game.
at the core of our philosophy for designing
I don't know.
consoles
This
is
is
that
a weird
game
ass
players
start.
are here for the fantastic games, which is to say that game creators matter. Anything we can do to make life easier for the game creators or help them realize their dreams, we will do. So About once every 2 years, I take a tour of the industry. I go to the various developers and publishers, sit down, and discuss how they're doing with the current consoles and what they'd like to see in future consoles. This requires weeks on the road, as reaching the bulk of the game creators involves talking to well over 100 people at something like 24 publishers and developers.
Yapping.
And it is incredibly valuable. By the way, the feature most requested by the developers, that was an SSD, which we were very happy to put in the hardware, but a lot of problem solving was required. I'll be doing a deep dive on the SSD and surrounding systems later on in this talk. It's also key to make a generational leap.
Yeah, it's
while
gonna be like, this
keeping
shit
the
basically a
console sufficiently
PC.
familiar to game developers. I think about this in terms of balancing evolution and revolution.
I want to see what it looks
Now,
like.
with PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, the target was a revolution each time with a brand new feature set. That was great in
why
many
do these-
ways, but time
these
for the
people look
developers
like
to get up and running got longer. With
DLC,
each console.
like,
In the
you know how
past,
like
I've
DLC
called this
characters they don't
time
show,
to
it's just like a
try.
blank
Here's what I have
thing
for
or
those
like
three
character.
They're not unlocked yet.
To be
Yeah, they're
clear,
not
I'm
unlocked, dude.
talking
It's
about
like,
time
yo,
to
this
make the
DLC is
game.
not unlocked yet.
Developers will be
This will come out in
ambitious, and it may
April.
take them
This
6
dude over there
years
is
or
gonna
so
come
to
out in
realize their
June.
vision. What I'm talking about is that dead time before graphics and other aspects of game development are up and running, and trying to minimize that.
I'm about to be in the crowd too.
On the other hand, if we're trying to reduce that dead time to 0, that means the hardware architecture can't change
Yep,
at all.
yep.
We're handcuffed. We need to judge for each feature what value it adds and whether it's worth the
Imagine that
increase in
shit.
developer time needed.
Like I pretend I'm in the audience. I'm
So
like
with
looking
PlayStation
towards the
4,
wall,
we were able to
so it
strike
looks like
a
I'm
pretty good
looking at him.
balance between performance and familiarity without required learning back to PlayStation 1 levels. With PS5, the GPU was definitely the area we felt the most tension between adding new features and keeping a familiar programming model. Ultimately, I think we've ended up with something.
Whoa, that's what it
under a
looks
month
like?
of getting
Wow,
up
it's
to
like a-
speed. That feels
damn.
like we're striking about the right balance. I'll go into a bit more detail later today about our philosophy with the GPU and the specific feature set that resulted from it. It's also very important for us, as the hardware team, to find new dreams, by which I mean something other than CPU performance, GPU performance.
Oh,
and
he
the amount
moved.
of RAM.
Yo, that's actually
The increase
someone.
in graphics
Yeah, I thought that
performance over
it
the
was
past
just like a
few
random
decades has
thing
been
there.
astonishing, but there are other areas in which we can innovate and provide significant value to the game creators, and through them, the players. That's why the SSD was very much on our list of directions to explore, regardless of what came out.
Real
from
fake
conversations
audience.
with game developers and publishers.
They're fucking
The biggest feature
robots.
in this category is the custom engine for audio. That's today's final topic. The push for vastly improved audio, and in particular 3D audio, isn't something that came out of the developer meetings. It's much more the case that we had a dream of what might be possible 5 years from now, and then worked out a number of steps we could take to set us on that path. So here again are the 3 principles. The first being enabling the desires of developers to drive the
I feel
hardware
like
design.
I'm in college right now.
To me, the
Is this what
SSD
college
really
feels
is the
like?
key to the next generation.
Where's the video
It's
games?
a game changer. And it was the #1 ask from developers for PlayStation 5. As in, we know it's probably impossible, but can you put an SSD in it? That was a discussion we were also having internally. It was clear that the presence of a hard drive in every PlayStation 4 was having a positive impact. A lot of things that would simply have been impossible at Blu-ray disc speeds were now possible. At the same time, though, in 2015 and 2016, when we were having these conversations, developers were already banging up against the limits of the hard drive.
That's
a
like
lot
I'm about
of
to be
developer
banging my
time
head
was
on the
spent
wall.
designing around slow
Stop.
I want to focus in on just one number here, which is how long it takes to load a gigabyte of data from a hard drive. The difficulty being that hard drives are neither particularly fast nor flexible. If all your data is in one block, which is frankly not very likely, you can load 50 to 100 megabytes a second, depending on where the data is located on the hard drive.
He's
Let's
teaching
assume
us.
it's on the outer edge, which means loading a gigabyte takes 10 seconds. If you compress your game packages, you can fit more data on the Blu-ray disc and also effectively boost your hard drive read speed by the compression ratio. We support
Do
Z-Lib
you know what that
decompression on
means?
PlayStation 4 that gets you something like 50% more
is
data on
weird
the
shit.
disc and 50% higher effective read speed. Unfortunately, though, it's highly likely that your data is scattered around in various files on the hard drive, as well as sourced from multiple locations within those files. So lots of seeks are needed at 2 to 50-ish milliseconds each.
2?
My rule of thumb is that the hard drive is spending 2/3 of its time seeking, and only 1/3 of its time actually loading data.
It's almost
Putting
been
all
10
of that
minutes.
together, a gigabyte is very roughly 20 seconds to load from a hard drive. Now, a gigabyte is not much.
He must have watched
Games
like
are
that
using
Byleth
5
reveal.
or 6 gigabytes of RAM on
And it
PlayStation
was like,
4,
wow,
so
Sakurai
boot
talking
times and
about
load
his
times can
fucking
get pretty
hand
grim.
signs
Or to put that differently,
and shit. He was
as
like,
a
that's pretty
player,
cool.
you
Let me
wait
do
for
that
the
too.
game to boot, wait for the game to load, wait for the level to reload every time you die, and you wait for what is euphemistically called fast travel. And all of that leads to the dream. What if we could have not just an SSD, but a blindingly fast SSD? If we could load 5 gigabytes a second from it, what would change? Now, SSDs are completely different from hard drives. They don't have seeks as such. If you have a 5 gigabyte a second SSD, you can read data from 1,000 different locations in that second, pretty much at speed. As for time to load a gigabyte, this is next gen.
Did I miss anything?
So memory is bigger. Instead, we should be asking how long to load 2 gigabytes. And the answer is about 1/4 of a second. I mean, that's amazing. We're talking 2 orders of magnitude.
Yeah, this
meaning
was supposed to
very
be shown
roughly
or like talked about at
100
GDC.
times faster. Which means at 5 gigabytes a second.
This is
for the
they're not gonna
SSD,
just
the
show like
potential
a
is
whole
that
bunch of
the
games
game
and stuff
boots in a second.
or anything like that.
There
I just
are
want to
no
see what it
load
looks
screens.
like,
The
maybe
game
like the
just
price
fades
and all
down
that.
while loading a 6 gigabytes and fades back up again. Same for a reload. You're immediately back in the action after you die. And fast travel becomes so fast it's blink and you miss it. As game creators, we go from trying to distract the player from how long fast travel is taking, like those Spider-Man subway rides, to being so blindingly fast that we might even have to slow that transition down. Pretty cool, right? But for me, this is not the primary reason to change from a hard drive to an SSD. The primary reason for an ultra-fast SSD is that it gives the game designer freedom. Or to put that differently, with a hard drive, the 20 seconds that it takes to load a gigabyte can sabotage the game that the developer is trying to create. I think almost all of us in the room have experienced this, maybe in different ways. Say we're making an adventure game and we have 2 rich environments where we each want enough textures and models to fill memory. Which you can do as long as you have a long staircase or elevator ride or a windy corridor where you can ditch the old assets and then take 30 seconds or so to load the new assets. Having a 30-second elevator ride is a little extreme. More realistically, we'd probably chop the world into a number of smaller pieces and then do some calculations with sight lines and run speeds like we did for Haven City when we were making Jak 2. The game is 20 years old, but
They
not
remember
much
this game?
has changed since then. All those twisted
They remember this
passages are there
series?
for a reason. There's a whole subset of level design dedicated to this sort of work, but still, it's a giant distraction for a team that just wants to make their game.
This is the first time I've ever
So
seen
when
them
I talked
mention
about
Jack
the dream
anything
of an
in like
SSD, part
years.
of the reason for that 5 gigabyte a second target was to eliminate loads, but also part of the reason for that target was streaming. As in, what if the SSD is so fast that as the player is turning around, it's possible to load textures for everything behind the player in that split second?
Hey, I'm good, Alex.
If you figure that it takes half a second to turn, that's 4 gigabytes of compressed data you can load. That sounds about right for next gen. Anyway, back to the hard drive. Another strategy for increasing effective read speed is to make big sequential chunks of data. For example, we might group all the data together for each city block. That removes most of the seeks, and the streaming gets faster. But there's a downside too.
I can't see how it looks like,
frequently
but
used
I'm
data
picturing
is
it in my
included
head. I'm
many
laughing.
chunks and therefore is on the hard drive many, many times. Marvel's Spider-Man uses this strategy, and though it works very well for increasing the streaming speed, there's a massive duplication as a result. Some of the objects like mailboxes or news racks are on the hard drive 400 times.
He's explaining
What I'm
game
describing
stuff.
here are things that cramp a creative director's style. Either level design gets a little bit boring in places, or the data is duplicated so many times that it no longer fits on the Blu-ray disc. And you end up with hard limits on the player's run speed or driving speed. The player can't go faster than the load speed from the hard drive. And finally, I'm sure many of you have noticed that after a patch download, a PlayStation 4 will sometimes take a long time to install the patch. That's because when just part of a file has been changed, the new data can be downloaded pretty quickly. But before the game boots up, a brand new file has to be constructed that includes the changed portion. Otherwise, every change would add a seek or two. Even so, you can occasionally see this happening on game titles. They start to hitch once they get patched enough. With an SSD, though, no seeks, so no need to make brand new files with the changes incorporated. I don't know what you just said, Marche. No installs as you know them today. There's yet one more benefit, which is that system memory can be used much more efficiently. On PlayStation 4, game data on the hard drive feels very distant and difficult to use. By the time you realize you need a piece of data, it's much too late to go out and load it. So system memory has to contain all of the data that could be used in the next 30 seconds or so of gameplay. That means a lot of the 8 gigabytes of system memory is idle. It's just waiting there to be potentially used. On PlayStation 5, though, the SSD is very close to being like more RAM. Typically, it's fast enough that when you realize you need a piece of data, you can just load it from the SSD and use it. There's no need to have lots of data parked in system memory waiting to potentially be used. A different way of saying that is that most of RAM is working on the game's behalf. This is one of the reasons that 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 feels right for PlayStation 5. The presence of the SSD reduces the need for a massive intergenerational...
I just want to see the PS5. I just want to see it.
Back to the dream of the SSD. Here's
pull it out of your foot. Like,
boot the game in a second. No load screens. Design freedom, meaning no twisty passages or long corridors. More game on the disk and more game on the SSD. And finally, those patch installs go away. The reality, though, is that the SSD is just one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of places where bottlenecks can occur in between the SSD and the game code that uses the data. You can see this on PlayStation 4. If I use an SSD with 10 times
I need to play God of War
the
still.
hard drive, I probably see only double the loading speed, if that. For PlayStation 5, our goal was not just that the SSD itself be 100 times faster. It was that game loads and streaming would be 100 times faster. So every single potential bottleneck needed to be addressed. And there are a lot of them. Let's look at check-in and what happens when its overhead gets 100 times larger. Conceptually, check-in is a pretty simple process. Data is loaded into system memory from the hard drive or SSD.
I probably should have slept more.
A few values are tweaked to check it in, and then it's moved to its final location. At the SSD speeds we're talking about, that last part, moving the data, meaning copying it from one location to another, takes roughly an entire
why they copy my starting soon card though? My old one.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. If all the overheads get 100 times larger, that will cripple the frame rate as soon as the player moves, and that massive stream of data starts coming off the SSD. So to solve all of that, we built a lot of custom hardware.
You idiots really thought they were revealing games? I just want to see the PS5 and the price, maybe.
The flash controller in the SSD was designed for smooth and bottleneck-free operation, but also...
anything else is extra.
For example, there are 6 levels of priority when reading from the SSD. Priority is very important. You can imagine the player heading into some new location in the world and the game requesting a few gigabytes of textures. And while those textures are being loaded, an enemy is shot and has to speak a few dying words. Having multiple priority levels lets the audio for those dying words get loaded immediately. On one side, that flash controller connects to the actual flash dies that supply the storage. To reach our bandwidth target of 5 gigabytes a second, we ended up with a 12-channel interface. 8 channels wouldn't be enough. The resulting bandwidth we've achieved is actually 5.5 gigabytes a second. With a 12-channel interface, the most natural size that emerges for an SSD is 825 gigabytes. The key question for us was, is that enough? I mean, it's tempting to add more, but Flash certainly doesn't come cheap, and we have a responsibility to our gaming audience to be cost-effective with regards to what we put in the console. Ultimately, we resolved this question by looking at the play patterns of a broad range.
I just want to see what people are saying.
We examined the specific games that they were playing over the course of the weekend.
Should I click the shuffle video?
And whether that set of games would fit properly on the SSD. We were able to establish that the friction caused by reinstalls or re-downloads would be quite low. And so we locked in on that 825 gigabyte size, while also preparing multiple strategies so that those who want more storage can add it. I'll go through the details in a moment. Back to the Flash controller. On the other
Back
side,
to the
it
match.
connects to our main custom chip via 4 lanes of Gen 4 PCIe. And inside the main custom chip is a pretty hefty unit dedicated to I/O. Before we talk about what that does, let's talk compression for a moment. PlayStation 4 used zlib as its compression format. We decided to use it again on PlayStation 5, but on my 2017 tour of developers, I learned about a new format called Kraken from Rad Game Tools. It's like zlib's
I thought I was the
smart
only one seeing a
simple,
crack in there. I was like, why the fuck is there a crack in there?
algorithms, but about 10% better compression, which is pretty big. That means 10% more game on the UHD Blu-ray disc or on the SSD. Kraken had only been out for a year, but it was already becoming a de facto industry standard. Half of the teams I talked to were either using it or getting ready to evaluate it. So we hustled and built a custom decompressor into the I/O unit, one capable of handling over 5 gigabytes of Kraken format input data a second. After decompression, that typically becomes 8 or 9 gigabytes, but the unit itself is capable of outputting as much as 22 gigabytes a second if the data happen to compress.
I remember my days out in the sea.
By the way, in terms of performance, that custom decompressor equates to 9 of our Zen 2 cores. That's what it would take to decompress the Kraken stream with a conventional CPU. There's a lot more in the custom I/O unit, including a dedicated DMA controller. The game can direct exactly where it wants to send the data coming off of the SSD. This equates to another Zen 2 core
you don't think so?
in terms of its copy performance. Its primary purpose is to remove check-in as a bottleneck. There's 2 dedicated I/O coprocessors and a large RAM pool.
Sheesh.
These aren't Zen 2 cores.
Where's the
They're there
article?
principally to direct the variety of custom hardware around them. One of the coprocessors is dedicated to SSD I/O. This lets us bypass traditional file I/O and its bottlenecks when reading from the SSD. The other is responsible for memory mapping, which I know doesn't sound like anything related to the SSD, but a lot of developers map and remap memory as part of file I/O, and this too can become a bottleneck. There are coherency engines to assist the coprocessor.
Hold on, chat. Apparently online they already like posted everything that they are talking about here.
Is stale data in the GPU caches.
Yo, Bleach
Flushing
is
all of the GPU caches whenever the SSD is read is an unattractive option. It could really hurt the GPU performance. So we've implemented a gentler way of doing things, where the coherency engines inform the GPU of the overwritten address ranges, and custom scrubbers in several dozen GPU caches do pinpoint evictions of just those address ranges. The best thing is, as a game developer, when you read from the SSD, you don't need to know any of this. You don't even need to know that your data is compressed. You just indicate what data you'd like to read from your original
this article is
uncompressed
fucking
file
long as shit.
and where you'd like to put it.
I'll just
And the
keep
whole
scrolling
process
down.
of loading it happens invisibly to
30
you
minutes left
and
of
at
this
very
video.
high speed. Back to the dream. Thanks to
Back to
all
the
of that
match.
surrounding hardware, our 5.5
can you
gigabytes
find
a
it and
second
post it in
really
my
should
chat
translate
for
to
anyone
something
wants
like
to see it?
100 times faster I/O than PS4, and allow the dream of no load screens and super fast streaming to become a reality. Having said that, expandability of our SSD is going to be quite important. Flash is costly.
Yeah, I know it's a
and you may very
presentation
well
for like
want to add
investors and
storage
stuff
to
like
whatever
that,
we put
but I
in
just
the
wanted to see what the PS5
Now,
actually
the
looked
kind
like.
of
I wasn't
storage
expecting
you
like
use
80
depends on
million
how you're
games.
going to use it.
At
If you
most,
have
I
an
expected
extensive
one game
PlayStation
to maybe
4
show how it
library and
is,
you'd like to take
like
advantage
how a
of
game
backwards
works
compatibility
and
and
looks
play
and
those
shit
games on
on it,
PlayStation
but
5,
that's it.
then a large external hard drive is ideal. You can leave your games on the hard drive and play them directly from there, thus saving the pricier SSD storage for your PlayStation 5 titles, or you can copy your active PlayStation 4 titles to the SSD. If your purpose in adding more storage is to play PlayStation 5 titles, though, ideally you would add to your SSD storage. We will be supporting certain.
This is an interesting bonding
These are
experience for the
internal
Naifu
drives that you
Nation.
can get on the open market and install.
So
on
said
day
this is an
in your
interesting
PlayStation 5.
bonding experience
As
for
for
the
which
Naifu
ones we
Nation.
support and when, I'll get to that in a moment. They connect through the
Sony
custom
fans?
unit, just like
Why so
our
quiet,
SSD
Elegant?
does. So they can take full advantage of the decompression,
'cause
I/O
Xbox
coprocessors,
is
and
stronger.
all the other features I was talking about. Here's the catch, though. That commercial drive has to be at least as fast as ours.
So the
Games
Xbox
that
is stronger
rely
than
on
the
speed
PS
of our
or the
SSD need to work
new Xbox
flawlessly
is stronger
and
than the PS5.
When I gave the Wired
The
interview
difference is,
last
I
year,
think they
I
already
said that the
confirmed
PlayStation 5
when that shit
SSD
launches,
was
they're not
faster than anything
launching. It's
available
not
on
going to be
PC.
exclusive
At the
Xbox
time,
Series X
commercial
games for a
M2
while.
drives used PCIe 3.0,
Right.
and
Xbox
4
One
lanes of
games on
that
it.
cap out at 3.5 gigabytes a second. In other words, no PCIe 3.0 drive can hit the
As long as that shit can load up and
M2 drives
boot
with
up
PCIe
Final Fantasy 7
4.0
Part
are now
2,
out in
Part
the
3,
market.
Part
We're
4,
getting our
then
samples
I'm gonna
and
get
seeing,
like that's
4
it.
or 5
That's it.
gigabytes a
I just
second.
want to see what it looks like. That's
By
it.
year's end, I expect there will be drives that saturate 4.0 and support 7 gigabytes a second. Having said that, we
Don't
are
forget about Part
comparing
5. That's
apples
PS6,
and
dude.
oranges, though, because
You're thinking too
that
far ahead.
commercial M2 drive will have its own architecture, its own flash controller, and so on. For example, the NVMe specification lays out a priority scheme for requests that the M2 drives can use. And that scheme is pretty nice, but it only has 2 true priority levels.
He
Our
actually
drive supports
happens.
6. We can hook up a drive with only 2 priority levels,
Wait, did I
definitely,
turn it
but
on?
our custom I/O unit has to arbitrate the
you hear
extra
it?
priorities rather
Way
than the
back.
M2 drive's flash controller. And so the M2 drive needs a little extra speed to take care of issues arising from the different
Hit it one
approach.
more time.
That commercial drive also needs to physically fit inside of the bay we created in PlayStation 5.
All right,
for
Chad, I'll be
M2
paying
drives.
attention, but
Unlike internal hard drives, there's
you know, if I
unfortunately
miss
no
something
standard
for somehow,
for the
just
height
let me
of
know.
an M2 drive. And some M2 drives have giant heat sinks. In fact, some of them even have their own fans.
Oh wait.
Right
I have it
now,
the
we're
wrong way.
getting M2 drive samples and benchmarking
Wait, no,
in
it's
various
the right
ways.
way.
When games hit beta as they get ready for the PlayStation 5 launch at year end, we'll also be doing some
like
compatibility
this-
testing
there's like
to
this
make
shit
sure that
blocking
the
my nose.
architecture of particular
Pretty sure you have
M2
it
drives
wrong.
isn't
I do have it
too
wrong,
foreign for
right?
the
I knew
games to
it.
handle.
There you go.
Once we've
Oh, yeah,
done
you're
that
right.
compatibility
It's the right
testing,
eye.
we should be able to start letting you know which drives will physically fit and which drive samples have benchmarked appropriately high in our testing. It would be great if that happened by launch, but it's likely to be a bit past it. So
I
please
owe me
hold
to,
off on getting that
but I'm
M2
also
drive
blind.
until you hear from us. Okay, back to our principles. Balancing evolution and revolution is the second of them. This was definitely a recurring theme with the GPU. We need new GPU features and capabilities. If
I gotta
we
hold
only
it.
have more performance, it's not really a new generation of console. Of course, many of these capabilities result in more performance. That's part of why a PlayStation 5 teraflop is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 teraflop. But we aren't just looking for the performance. We also need the ability to do something with the GPU that could not have been done before. And we need higher performance per watt. Every time we double the performance of some GPU component, we
yes,
don't want
yes.
to find out we've doubled the power consumed.
Yes,
and
this
the
is how we'll defeat the Jinduki.
but at the same
and
time, we
obtain
have to make
all the
sure
tail
the
beasts.
GPU can run PS4 games,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to ensure that the architecture is easy for the developers to adopt.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
backwards compatibility was handled masterfully by AMD. They treated it
But it
as
wasn't
a key
masterfully,
need
you know,
throughout the design.
on the PS4.
As our solution to adding new features without blindsiding developers, we made sure that if there were new significant features, it would be optional to use them. The GPU supports ray tracing, but you don't have to use ray tracing to make your game. The GPU supports primitive shaders, but you can release your first game on PlayStation 5 without making any use of them. Before I get into the capabilities of the GPU, I'd like to make clear 2 points that can be quite confusing.
It's a little hard in here.
First, we have a custom AMD GPU based on their RDNA 2 technology. What does that mean? AMD is continuously improving and revising their tech. For RDNA 2, their goals were, roughly speaking, to reduce
see.
power consumption by
me
re-architecting
more.
the GPU to put data close to where it's needed,
Tell
to
me more.
optimize the GPU for performance, and to add a
see.
new, more advanced feature set.
Interesting.
But that feature set is malleable, which is to say that we have our own needs for PlayStation, and that can factor into what the AMD roadmap becomes. So collaboration
kill
is born.
Naruto?
If we bring concepts to AMD that are felt to be widely useful, then they can be adopted into RDNA 2 and used broadly, including in PC GPUs.
But what about
If
the hidden leaf?
ideas are sufficiently specific to what we're trying to accomplish, like the GPU
And I'm
cache
trying to
scrubbers I was
accomplish
talking
capturing
about,
all the
then they
Jinjurikis
end
out
up
there.
being just for us. If you see a similar discrete GPU available as a PC card at roughly the same time as we release our console, that means
It's hot as hell in here.
AMD succeeded.
I'm going back.
in producing technology useful in both worlds. It doesn't mean that we as Sony simply incorporated the PC part into our console. This
that's next level hot.
In AMD technology means it's dangerous to rely on teraflops as an absolute indicator of performance, and CU count should be avoided as well. In the case of CPUs, we all understand this. The PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 each have 8 CPUs, but we never think that meant the capabilities and performance are equal. It's the same for CUs. For one thing, they've been getting much larger over time. Adding new features means adding lots of transistors. In fact, the transistor count
There's
for
one
a
hole in
PlayStation
there.
5 CU is 62%
Chat, this
larger
presentation
than the transistor
was
count
supposed to be for GDC.
Second,
Was it supposed to be like a Nintendo Direct or anything like that? If you imagine that,
what does that
it was
mean?
not supposed to be.
One
that.
way you can achieve backwards compatibility is to
I don't think we're gonna
console
even see what it
chipset
looks
in the
like.
new
That's what I
console,
wanted
like
to
we did
see,
with some
at least.
PlayStation 3s. But that's of course extremely expensive. A better way is to incorporate any differences in the previous console's logic into the new console's custom chips, meaning that even as the technology evolves, the logic and feature set that PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro titles rely on is still available in backwards compatibility modes.
Only PS4?
One advantage of this strategy is that once backwards compatibility is in the console, it's in. It's not as if a cost down will remove backwards compatibility like it did on PlayStation 3. Achieving this unification of functionality took years of efforts by AMD, as any roadmap advancement creates a potential divergence in logic. Running PS4 and PS4 titles at boosted frequencies has also added complexity. The boost is truly massive this time around, and some game code just can't handle it. Testing has to be done on a
So I can play PS4 games.
Results
you want to wait to
excellent, though.
play Final Fantasy 7? You don't want to get a PS4? You get a PS4 at the end of the year.
And we're expecting almost all of them to be playable at launch on PlayStation 5. With regards to new features, as I said, our strategy was to try to break new ground, but at the same time not to require use of the new GPU capabilities. For more than a decade, GPUs have imposed a restriction on game engines. Software handles vertex processing, but for the most part, dedicated hardware is responsible for the triangles and other geometry that the vertices form.
My worst enemy.
That means it's not possible to do even basic optimizations, such as aborting processing of a vertex if all geometry that uses it is off-screen.
Nairo circle.
PlayStation 5 has a new unit called the Geometry Engine, which brings
you saw that shit? That shit turned into a brain.
Programmatic control. As a game developer, you're free to ignore its existence and use the PlayStation 5 GPU as if it were no more capable than the PS4 GPU. Or you can use this new intelligence in various ways. Simple usage could be performance optimization.
You said it so fast, I heard.
Back-faced or off-screen vertices and triangles. More complex usage involves something called primitive shaders, which allow
that's how much of the brain you need to play Ballotana, man. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Brand new capability. Using primitive shaders on PlayStation 5 will allow for a broad variety of techniques, including smoothly varying level of detail, addition of procedural detail to close-up objects, and improvements to particle effects and other visual special effects. Another major new feature of our custom RDNA 2-based GPU is ray tracing, using the same strategy as
all I'm learning from this entire presentation is that I don't know shit about what he's talking about.
A new specialized unit called the intersection engine, which can calculate the intersection of rays with boxes and triangles. To use the intersection engine, first you build what is called an acceleration structure. It's data in RAM that contains all of your geometry. There's a specific set of formats you can use. They're variations on the same.
What am I looking at?
Then, in your shader program,
if Sam Sora was watching this, he would actually be like,
the intersection engine to check array against DVH. While the intersection engine is processing the requested ray triangle or ray box intersections, the shaders are free to
acceleration structure.
Having said that, the ray tracing instruction is pretty memory intensive, so it's a good mix with logic-heavy code. There's of course no need to use ray tracing. PS4 graphics engines will run just fine on PlayStation 5. But
It's
it
backwards
presents an
compatible to
opportunity for
PS4
those
and
interested.
PS4 Pro. We can't
I'm
forget.
thinking
They're
it'll
different.
take less than 1 million rays a second to have a big
That's it.
impact on audio. That should be enough for audio occlusion and some reverb calculations. With a bit more of the GPU invested in ray tracing, it should be possible to do some very nice global illumination.
You left for 15 minutes.
Having
Did you
said
miss
that,
anything? Bro,
adding
what?
ray traced
You
shadows
really
and
left?
reflections
After
to
they
the
showed all
traditional
that?
graphics engine could
Yo,
easily
they
take hundreds
actually
of
went
millions
in,
of
dude.
rays a second.
Uncharted
And
5,
could
God of
be
War 2, bro. You
How far
fucking
can we
missed
go?
this shit.
I'm starting to get quite bullish. I've already seen a PlayStation 5 title
Oh
that's
my God.
successfully using ray tracing based reflections in complex animated scenes with only modest costs. Another set of issues for the GPU
Now I'm playing, you ain't
involve
missed much.
size and frequency. How big do we make the GPU?
He about to look,
and
he's like,
what
oh,
frequency
shit,
do
did I-
we run it at?
Man,
This is a
I'm about to
balancing act.
unsub.
The chip has a cost, and there's a cost for whatever we use to supply that chip with power and to cool it. In general, I like running the GPU at higher frequency. Let me show you why.
Show me why.
Here's two possible configurations for
I
a
see.
GPU roughly of the level of the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Nice.
This is a thought experiment. Don't take these
thought?
configurations too seriously.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those before.
If you just calculate teraflops, you get the same number. But actually, the performance is noticeably different because teraflops is defined as the computational capability of the vector ALU. That's just one part of the GPU. There are a lot of other units. And those other units all run faster when the GPU frequency is higher. At 33% higher frequency, rasterization goes 33% faster. Processing the command buffer goes that much faster. The L2 and other caches have that much higher
Hold on, let me
bandwidth,
see something
and
real
so
quick.
on. About the only downside is that system memory is 33% further away. in
Show from
terms of
streaming this
cycles.
shit, he probably,
But the large
he probably
number of
going in on
benefits
this.
more than counts. As a friend of mine says, a rising tide lifts all boats. Also, it's easier to fully use 36 CUs in parallel than it is to fully use 48 CUs. When triangles are small, it's much harder to fill all those CUs with useful work. So there's a lot to be said for faster, assuming you can handle the resulting power and heat issues, which frankly, we haven't always done the best job at. Part of the reason for that is, historically, our process for setting CPU and GPU frequencies has relied on some heavy-duty guesswork with regards to how much electrical power games will consume
why
and
is
how
an
much
X
heat
the
will be
highest
produced
power?
as a result inside of the console. Power consumption varies a lot from game to game. When I play God of War on my PS4 Pro, I know the power consumption is high
Wow, what
just
a-
by
what
the
a
fan noise.
low-key
But power
flex.
isn't simply about engine
When I play
quality.
on
It's about
my
the
PS4
minutia of
Pro,
what's being
we know you
displayed.
have like a million of them, dude.
It's
We know.
counterintuitive, but processing dense geometry typically consumes less power than processing simple geometry, which is, I suspect, why
I'm just playing. I'm
Horizon's
just trying to make fun
max
of
screen,
it.
with its low triangle count makes my PS4 Pro heat up so much. Our process on previous consoles has been to try to guess what the maximum power consumption during the entire console lifetime might be, which is to say, the worst case scene in the
Yo.
worst case game, and
That
prepare
you see like that
solution
green
we
to like
think will be
orange,
quiet at that
like yeah,
power
this
level.
line or like this bar.
If we get it right,
That shit kind of look like
noise
the
is minimal.
fruit
If we get it
roll-ups.
wrong,
Is it fruit
the
roll-ups or
console
like
is
foot by
quite
the
loud
foot?
for the higher power games, and there's even a
Them
chance
shits
that my
slap back
overheat
then,
will
yo.
shut down if we misestimate power.
Them shits
badly.
fucking were good.
PlayStation 5 is especially challenging because the CPU supports 256-bit native instructions that consume a lot of power. These are great here and there, but presumably
They still
only
do.
minimally
Man,
used.
I haven't had candy in
Or
like a while.
are they? If we plan for major 256-bit instruction usage, we need to set the
I don't know.
CPU clock substantially lower or noticeably increase the size of the power supply and fan. So, after much discussion, we decided to go
They're both
a very
good.
different direction on PlayStation 5. We built a
Bro, it
GPU
ain't
with
candy, it's fruit.
36 CUs. Mind you, RDNA 2 CUs are large. Each has 62% more transistors than the CUs we were using on PlayStation 4. So, if we compare transistor counts, 36 RDNA 2 CUs equates to roughly 58 PlayStation 4 CUs. It is a fairly sizable GPU. Then we went with a variable frequency strategy for PlayStation 5, which is to say we continuously run the GPU and CPU in boost mode. We supply a generous amount of electrical power and then increase the frequency of GPU and CPU until
I'm sure
they
this
reach
part
the
is like probably
capabilities
hype.
of the system's cooling solution. It's a completely different paradigm. Rather than running at constant frequency and letting power vary based on the workload, we run at essentially constant power and let the frequency vary based on the workload. We then tackled the engineering challenge of a cost-effective and high-performance cooling solution designed for that specific power level. In some ways,
Damn,
it becomes a simpler
this shit been
problem
happening
because
for
there are
40
no more
minutes?
unknowns. There's no need to guess what power consumption the worst-case game might have. As for the details of the cooling solution, we're saving them for our teardown. I think you'll be.
Yo, how's it been almost 40 minutes?
Came up with.
I swear when I do this, when
So
I experience
how
this shit in
fast can we
class,
run
this is
the
like probably
GPU
10
and
minutes.
CPU with this strategy.
What?
The simplest approach
It's
would be
talking.
to look at the actual temperature of the silicon die and
It's been
throttle
almost a whole
frequency
period.
basis. But that won't work. It fails to create a consistent PlayStation 5 experience. It wouldn't do to run a console slower simply because it was in a hot room. So rather than look at the actual temperature of
You know, I ain't complaining though. We
look
40
at the
minutes closer to
activity
Final
that the
Fantasy VII
GPU
Remake.
and CPU are performing and set the frequencies on that basis, which makes everything deterministic and repeatable. While we're at it, we also use AMD's Smart Shift technology and send any unused power from the CPU to the GPU so it can squeeze out a few more pixels. The benefits of this strategy are quite large. Running a GPU at 2 gigahertz was looking like an unreachable target with the old fixed frequency
You're right,
strategy.
D-Train.
With this new paradigm, we're able to run way over that. In fact, we have to cap the
40
GPU
minutes closer to
frequency
Animal
at
Crossing?
2.23
What's that?
gigahertz so that we can guarantee
I'm
that
just
the
playing, I'm
on-chip
playing.
logic operates properly. 36 CUs at 2.23 gigahertz is 10.3 teraflops, and we expect the GPU to spend most of its time at or close to that frequency and performance. Similarly, running the CPU at 3 gigahertz was causing headaches with the old strategy. But now we can run it as high as 3.5 gigahertz. In fact,
Man,
it
today ain't
spends
no
most of
PS5
its
day.
time at that frequency.
Calvin, what day is today?
That doesn't mean all games will be running at 2.23
Bleach
gigahertz
day.
and 3.5
Yep,
gigahertz.
that's what I was gonna say.
When that worst-case game arrives, it will run at a
They should have
lower
postponed
cost.
this.
But
They
not
trying to
too
ruin
much.
Bleach Day.
To reduce power by 10%, it only takes a couple of percent reduction in frequency. So I'd expect any downclocking to occur.
Bang! Guy!
All things considered, the change to a variable frequency approach will show significant gains for PlayStation gamers. The final of our 3 principles was about
Nairo, can I
finding new
borrow
dreams. It's
a pencil?
important for us on the hardware team to find
All
new
right, here you
ways
go,
to
man.
expand or deepen gaming, and that's what led us to a focus on 3D audio. As players, we experience the game through the visuals, through audio, and through the feedback we receive from the controller, such as rumble or haptics. Personally, I feel a game is just dead without audio. Visuals are, of course, important, but the impact of audio is huge as well.
He right about that.
At the same time, the audio team on a game project has to do a lot with a little. For example, on
He right
PlayStation
about
4,
that.
there's fierce competition for the Jaguar.
Y'all ever played on
Audio typically ends up
Mementos?
getting just a fraction.
I was looking at a stage, I was like, what's
That's
it?
not
Mementos.
much of a computational resource, particularly when you consider that the visuals run at 30 or 60 frames a second, but audio processing needs to happen at almost 200 times a second. So it's been tough going making forward progress on audio with PlayStation 4, particularly when PlayStation 3 was such a beast when it came to audio. The SPUs in Cell were almost a perfect device for audio rendering. Simple pipelined algorithms could really take advantage of asynchronous DMA and frequently reached 100% utilization of the floating point unit. There's unfortunately nothing comparable on PlayStation 4. Probably the most dramatic progress in the PlayStation 4 generation has been with virtual reality. The PSVR hardware has its own audio unit. It supports about 50 pretty decent 3D sound sources. And
Has this guy ever
provided a
blinked?
hint
I'm
as
sure
to
he
where
has.
we could go with audio,
A few
as
times.
well as some valuable experience. Not to oversimplify, but here were our goals.
Wait, did I just
for
see a
audio for
PSVR?
PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, y'all saying it in the
The
chat.
first goal was great audio for everyone, not just VR users or soundbar
They need to
owners
drop
or
that
headphone
shit.
users.
Nah, hell no.
That
We
meant
paid like
audio had to be part of the
$500 for that.
console. It
They better
couldn't
make
be.
use of
That was the worst thing I've ever bought.
The second
in the
goal
past
was to support
decade.
hundreds of sound sources.
And I've
We
bought
didn't want
many
developers to have to
waifu
pick and
figurines.
choose what sounds
And they
would get
still
put in
hold
the
up.
box and which wouldn't. We wanted
Even in
every
the
sound
boxes.
in the game to have dimensionality. And finally, we wanted to really take on the challenges of presence and locality. Now, when we say presence, we mean the feeling that you're
And I bought a
actually
Wii U.
there. You've entered the matrix. It's
Well,
not,
my
of course,
my
something
Wii
we
U
thought could be
had
perfectly
iconic
achieved.
matchups
The
like
idea was
Shrek
that if we
versus
stopped
fucking
using just a rain sound,
E103
and instead used
Omega
lots of
or
3D
whatever the
audio
fuck.
sources for raindrops hitting the ground at all sorts of locations around you, then at some point your brain would take a leap and you'd begin to have this feeling of real presence inside the virtual world of the game.
Oh, it's Gamma.
This has the
Whatever.
capacity to
E102
affect your
Gamma.
appreciation of the game, just like music.
No, wait, no, the
in
one
a
in Sonic Heroes is Omega, isn't
the
it?
concept of locality
Is that the same guy?
simpler. It's just your
It's a
sense
different
of where
robot.
the audio is coming from. To the right of you, behind you, above you. This can immerse you further in the game.
E123
and it can also
Omega, that's what it
directly
is.
enhance the gameplay. To use Dead Space as an example, I know, old school. You're fighting enemies in fairly dark, spooky locations. Back in the day, if you played the game using the TV speakers, you could tell that there was one last enemy growling and hunting you down, but it was difficult to tell quite where that enemy was. With headphones, you could tell that the enemy was somewhere on the right, which let you deduce, if you couldn't see it, that it must be somewhere
top chat, go to
behind
live chat.
and to the right.
I just want to see what
But with 3D audio with good locality, the idea is you know the enemy is precisely there, and you
It
turn
stopped.
and
Oh,
you
wait, there
take
it
it
is.
out. So, how do we know where sound is
Oh my
coming from in the first place? Well, all those bumps and folds in the ear have a meaning, evolutionarily speaking.
Oh
Based on
shit,
what
that's
direction
fast.
the sound is coming from, sound waves bounce around
Look how
the
many people are
ear,
watching.
there's some constructive and
600,000.
destructive interference, and the result is a change in volume. The phase of the sound also
Wait, hold
shifts,
on.
depending
This
on
shit
what
has
path the sound
19k
wave
dislikes.
took
Let
to
me see
reach
if I
the
refresh it.
These destructive interference and the
Oh,
result
what? How that
is
shit
a
up
change
auto
in
update?
volume. The phase of the sound also shifts, depending on what path the sound wave took to reach the ear canal. These volume changes and phase shifts are different for each direction.
I'm gonna
and
try to
also
read some
vary
messages in their
depending
chat.
on the frequency of the sound.
This is a top chat.
Head size and head shape also
Announce
impact the sound.
Raid Shadow Legends.
The way that the sound changes based on direction
La
and
la la
frequency
la
comes in
la.
a table called the head-related transfer function, or HRT.
Hey, yo, somebody just
Here's
called
part of one.
face
The
with
vertical
medical
axis is the
mask.
frequency. The horizontal axis is the direction, front, back, left, right, and the color gives the degree of attenuation of the sound at that frequency. The HRTF is as unique to an individual as a fingerprint is. In fact, you're looking at mine right now. Here's how we measure in HRTF. We've taken hundreds of people through this. We put a
I don't want to put it stream. I'll put it up near the end so I can hear like his final thoughts. He's like, yo, that shit was.
Down in the middle of an array of 22 speakers.
All right,
We
let me
then
put it back.
play
Let me
an
put it
audio
back.
sweep from each speaker as we rotate. the
Chat, how does it feel to be
In a
watching
course of
like
10 or 20 minutes, we're able to
pretty
sample
much
the
like
HRTF
yourself over
at
there?
over 1,000 locations. Using
That's
an
like your
HRTF
alternate
when rendering
accounts.
audio creates unparalleled quality, but it's computationally expensive. The simplest way to use an HRTF is to process a sound source to make it appear as if it's coming from one of those 1,000 locations we sampled. Unfortunately,
we
the
better than
processing
them?
has to be done
You're
in
right,
the
we better
frequency
than them.
domain rather than time domain, so there's multiple fast Fourier transforms needed for every sound source for every audio tick.
Yeah, chat,
That's
watch this.
a lot of multiplies. This computational complexity was the determining factor for our strategy. It meant we had to bite the bullet and design and build a custom hardware unit for 3D audio. Collectively, we're referring to the hardware unit and the proprietary algorithms we run on it as Tempest 3D Audio Tech. The meaning of 3D audio
guy's
and
skills.
technology should be pretty obvious. As for Tempest, I feel it really reflects our goals with audio. It suggests a certain
Anyway, back to the match.
intensity of experience and also hints at your presence within it. We're calling the hardware unit that we built the Tempest engine. It's based on AMD's GPU
Wait, they had
technology.
something
We
called-
modified a compute
Oh,
unit in such a way
This ain't
as
Burnt
to
the
make it
Witch.
very
Something
close to
with
the
black
SPUs
magic.
in PlayStation 3. Remember when I said that they were ideal for audio? So the Tempest engine has no caches, just like an SPU. All data access is via DMA, just like an SPU.
I know we already
Our
went past
target
it,
was that
but
it would
they
have
showed
more
Dead
power
Space
than a CPU
for like an
thanks to the
example,
parallelism that
and they're
a
like,
GPU
yeah, I know,
would
very
achieve.
very
And it
old
would be
title,
more
but they
efficient
fucking
than
showed
on
Jack
GPU
2.
thanks
I'm
to
pretty
the
sure Jack 2
SPU
came out way before that
The
shit.
goal being to make possible near 100%
better be hinted towards it
utilization
coming back.
of the CU's vector units. Where we ended up is a unit with roughly the same SIMD power and bandwidth as all 8 Jaguar cores in the PlayStation.
Little bird is all you just said.
If we were to use the same algorithms as PSVR, that's enough for something like 5,000 sound sources. But of course, we want to use more complex algorithms, and we don't need.
So are we not playing
like
Smash?
that number
Dude,
of sounds.
pay attention. This is the bubble theory.
It would have been wonderful if a simpler strategy, such as using Dolby Atmos peripherals, could have achieved our goals, but we wanted 3D audio for all, not just those with licensed soundbars or the like. Also, we wanted many hundreds of sound sources, not just the 32 that Atmos supports. And finally, we wanted to be able to throw an overwhelming amount of processing power at the problem, and it wasn't clear what any peripheral might have inside of it. In fact, with the Tempest engine, we've even got enough
those
power
people
that
don't
we can
move, yo.
allocate
It's kind of
some to the
creepy.
game,
Like they
to the
move
extent
like
that
once every
games
like
want to
5 to
make
10
use of
minutes.
convolution reverb,
No
and
sneezing,
other
no
algorithms that are either
nothing, no
computationally
like little
expensive
like.
or need
Oh, I see.
high bandwidth.
No clapper.
The primary purpose of
clappers
the
in the
Tempest
chat.
engine remains 3D audio. Now, 3D audio
Oh my
is a
God.
major academic
I don't know what they would be
research
clapping
topic.
for,
It's
but-
safe to say that no one in the world has all of the answers. And the set of algorithms that has to be invented, tuned, or implemented to realize our vision for 3D audio is immense. For example, use of HRTFs in games is quite complex. Before, I talked about making a sound source appear as if it's coming from one of those 1,000 HRTF sample locations. But for high-quality 3D game audio, we have to handle other possibilities. The sound source might not be at one of the 1,000 HRTF sample locations. So we have to
What am I
blend
looking? Yo, this is
HRTF
not my
data from the
territory.
closest locations that we
This
have
is not my territory.
The sound source might be moving, which needs very special handling.
This
as
is
that
scaring
blend
me a
keeps
bit.
Changing, and that can cause phase artifacts in the resulting
This is scaring me.
Or the sound source might have a size to it, meaning it should feel as if it's coming from an area rather than a single point. There's also whole categories of approaches to be handled. 3D audio can be implemented using individual processing of 3D sound sources. But alternatively, ambisonics can be used for 3D audio. Ambisonics being somewhat like the spherical harmonics used in computer
This should
graphics.
look like a final
And
boss for
finally,
the next
there's
Sonic
audio
game.
devices. The player might be using headphones or TV speakers or have a higher-end surround sound setup with 6 or more speakers, all of which need different approaches. That's a lot of variations. It's nice to have the computational resources of the Tempest engine, but it's clear that achieving our ultimate goals with 3D audio is going to be a multi-year, step-by-step process. Having said that, headphone audio implementation is largely complete at this time. It was a natural place for us
Let
to
me just
start.
open
With
up a new
headphones,
tab
we
so I
control
can just pull it
exactly
down
what
as
each
soon as it
ear
happens.
hears, and therefore the algorithmic development and implementation are more straightforward. For TV speakers and stereo speakers, we're in the process of implementing virtual surround sound. The idea being that if you're sitting in a sweet spot in front of the TV, then the sound can be made to feel as if it's coming from any direction, even behind you. Virtual surround sound has a lot in common with 3D audio on headphones, but it's more complex because the left ear can hear the right speaker and vice versa. We have a basic implementation of virtual surround sound up and running. We're now looking at increasing the size of that sweet spot, which is to say, making the area you need to be in to
David in
feel
the
the
chat
3D
said this
effect
guy Wall.
larger. And we're also working to boost the sense of locality. Headphone audio is the current gold standard for 3D audio on PlayStation 5, but we're going to see what we can do to bring virtual
They like
surround
doing
sound
that.
to a similar level, after which we'll start in on setups with more speakers, such as 6-channel surround sound. It's now to the point where some of the PlayStation 5 games in development are extensively using these systems. One of the games allows you to toggle between
Yeah, shuffle an OD
PlayStation 4
board.
stereo audio
On the
and
camera,
our new 3D audio.
he looks like he's had
I
enough.
listened with just an ordinary pair of over-the-ear headphones, and wow, I could feel a difference. 3D audio has that dimensional feel to it. Conventional stereo audio feels smashed flat by comparison.
What they say?
Improvement is obvious.
Did they say
A
the
big
S
advantage,
word?
but have I entered the matrix? Does my brain believe I'm really there? Like I was talking about earlier when I explained our target of presence. Well, the answer is no, but you've probably caught on to what's missing here, namely whose HRTF was being used. It wasn't mine, it was the default HRTF. The audio team analyzed the hundreds that they measured and chose the one they felt was the closest fit to the total game-playing audience. This shows a piece of the default HRTF on the left and my HRTF on the right. You can see that the general features are much the same, but the details are quite different. With the default HRTF, as I said, the 3D audio sounds pretty great. When I use my HRTF, though, the audio reaches a higher level of realism, which is to say that when using headphones and my HRTF,
yeah. I get what he's saying
occasionally
here.
get fooled and even think a sound
You
is
can see
coming
the
from
chakra.
the real world when
He's
it's
like
actually
zooming
coming
into the
from
body. You can see the chakra flowing through the person.
A corollary to this is that there are a few people whose HRTFs are sufficiently far from the default HRTF, that's the red dot here, that they can toggle between PS4 style and PS5 style audio and not sense much difference. I've had a few people describe the PlayStation 5 3D audio as sounding like a bit better stereo audio. Presumably, they're the ones at the very edges of this diagram. Which means what HRTF you're using is key. I'd like everyone to be able to experience what I'm experiencing, but obviously it's not possible to measure the HRTF of every PlayStation user. That means HRTF selection and synthesis are going to be big topics going forward as the Tempest technology matures. At PlayStation 5 launch, we'll be offering a choice of 5 HRTFs. There's a simple test where you pick the one that gives you the best locality. That's just the first step, though. This is an open-ended research topic. Maybe you'll be sending us a photo of your ear, and we'll choose a neural network to pick the closest HRTF in our library. Maybe you'll be sending us a video of your ears and your head, and we'll make a 3D model of them and synthesize the HRTF. Maybe you'll play an audio game to tune your HRTF. We'll be subtly changing it as you play.
Well, my ear's kind of big, bro.
HRTF that gives you the highest score, meaning that it matches you the best. This is a journey we'll all be taking together over the next few years. Ultimately, we're committed to enabling everyone to experience.
Yeah, he has this smug-ass look on him right now.
Hopefully, I've been able to illustrate a bit about our design and decision-making process.
Not the guy in the video.
And why PlayStation 5 has the feature set that it does. Now comes the fun part. We get to see how the development community takes advantage of that feature set. I'm hoping for the completely unexpected. Will it come from audio, ray tracing, the capabilities of the SSD, or something else? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Thank you for your time today.
Just go to shit.
Architecture of the console, okay?
I wasn't ready
I
for
see the y'all tight. Y'all fucking tight in the chat. Yo, man.
Oh,
I
gotta.
Finally.
Damn.
That is what I wanted.
I'm actually, even though they didn't show the PlayStation 5, I'm happy. I'm more happy that it's over than I would be if I saw the console. On God, I am. On God, bro. Thank God he finally shut the fuck up.
I want to follow.
Thank God he finally shut the fuck up talking to me, bro. Damn it. Fuck.
Wow, that's kind of what you guys were saying.
The Road to PlayStation 5 is the name of this video. The Road to PlayStation 5.
Alright, I won't have his stream up long. I just wanted to see his reaction. I knew he was gonna say some shit immediately when it ended.
He talked about audio for 20 minutes. He talked about audio for 20 minutes.
He really did. He really did.
Alright, well, that was it, chat. Yo, thank you. That shit wasn't even, like, censored, yo. If I'm not mistaken, I saw that shit was a little higher. It wasn't even censored.
Oh, that was fun.
So, how about them Lakers, man? Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Fuck,
Stupid as fuck. Alright, I'm done. Alright, I gotta go take a picture of my ear real quick. Send it. Wow, that was something. Hey, we got the note. Dilly dally shilly shally.
That presentation started before I ever subbed.
Yeah, it's been a long 5 years. It's been a long 5 years, Hat Thank you for the 60 months. Hold on, we gotta have some music playing. Something. Mega Man. Can't go wrong with Mega Man. Something. Alright. Alright, well, chat. That was that. That was the PS5, like, specs and shit and stuff. But, in the middle of that, they posted it online and people were comparing it, and the Xbox is stronger overall. If people really care that much about it. I just want to see some good games.
Time to tip the scales.
That's part 1.
What the fuck was I listening to?
Give me some good games. We didn't even see the PS5 model, man.
I feel like because there was 1 million people watching, we're all gonna be really mad that they didn't really understand that it was.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for GDC, like a little like a closed show for like investors and all.
Maybe
these.
they'll just release how it looks early, because people are gonna be so mad.
Let me see Twitter. Kids who are watching this PS5 presentation, this is your schooling for the next month. You're gonna learn today. Shout out to Lamar.
Where's that state of play?
When that Nintendo Direct next week.
Next week. There's no way we're gonna wait till April for
Bro,
the Direct.
they're waiting. Well, it's because they're waiting for Animal Crossing. And once Animal Crossing is out, they could talk about new shit. Even though they're gonna be like, "This is what's coming up next in Animal Crossing. This is the first spring event." But that's gonna be next week probably. And then we're gonna get no Smash character, and I'll be fine depending on what else we get. And if we don't. We're gonna get Xenoblade. Every fucking website is like, yo, this shit coming out in May. So that's just coming out in May. Can't have like 17,000 websites say that it's all coming out in the end of May. But you know what else is coming out at the end of May? Last of Us 2. So sorry, Xenoblade. Hey, take a seat. I'll play you some other time. Well, I mean, Last of Us 2, I could probably beat that shit in like 2 or 3 streams. So it wouldn't even be that bad. Yeah, the conference was just directed for a different audience, for sure. So, you know, it's gonna be a lot of sour impressions and all that stuff. A lot of their online presentations, not just this, but like, or not even just their online presentations, a lot of their stuff, like, it's hit or miss. I'm not counting this, but like, you know, the fucking, that one PSX, they showed Last of Us 2 and the first time Final Fantasy 7 remake gameplay. That shit was good. And then next year, the year after that, they just talked for an hour and a half on a couch, on a stage, in front of mad people. And shit was terrible. You can't have a show like last time and then do that. And not like prepare us for that shit. It was so bad. And then like, I don't know what happened. The last year that they were at E3, not last year, but the year before that, I don't know what their like presentation was. It was like, it'll go to like people in a tent watching it, and then it'll go to like people on a, like 3 people on like a desk talking about the shit. I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that. It was so weird. It was very, very weird stuff. But, and now they're doing like they're basically doing like Nintendo Directs and stuff. So, I mean, their first one was good because they showed Final Fantasy 7. But a lot of times just like, eh. And then they show Resident Evil 3 as well. But there's no E3 this year, so that means, well, I mean, they weren't gonna do anything anyway for this E3, but even though E3 is not happening, when June happens, I'm sure all the companies are gonna have like some kind of presentation or close to June, and that'll basically be their E3 direct or like their E3 video. Oh, let me check the downvotes on that video. It went from 19K to
Hi.
Nope. To 48. That's how it starts. That's still less than my Lift for real. Alright, well, I guess that's basically it. So, chat, I'm not streaming from now till when I normally end, because that's the entire day. I'm probably gonna sleep for a bit. Maybe. I'll see. Maybe. But, yeah, I'll be back live later today. Around 6, maybe 7. Maybe 7. Yeah. But yeah, chat, I'm too lazy. I already closed out everything. I'll be back live later today. I'll tweet out when I go live. I should be doing Smash. I don't know if I'm gonna do an Iron Man or like a... I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I don't know if I want to do an Iron Man because I'm gonna have to be... I'm gonna have to do 99 floor dungeons in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So, I don't want to do something that takes 5 hours, like an Iron Man, and then do something else that's gonna be 5 hours as well. Okay, the 99 floor dungeon won't be 5 hours, but it's gonna be a long time. So, alright, chat. That's gonna be it. Thank you guys for watching. I ain't gonna host anyone. I'm gonna be back live in a few. But yeah, chat. Thank you guys for watching. Follow if you haven't followed. I'll be back live later today. I stream pretty often if you're new here. And yeah. I don't even remember his full Twitch name. I'm just gonna dip. I'm going to sleep. Alright, peace out, chat. Have a good one.
Time to tip the scales.
Oh, wait, before I go. Toast, actually, real quick. Toast, thank you for the 15-month resub. There was some notifications probably throughout that whole thing because it was like an hour long. Needy, 7-month resub. JD with the 2-month resub. Pokemike, 2 months. Mono, thank you for 20. Say he don't know what the hell is happening. Is this some math shit? Yeah, it was basically some math shit. Spectre, 21 months. Red Leader, first time sub. Jimby, 2 months. And I think that was it. Okay. Alright, chat, I'm out. Have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or, damn, I'm so used to saying I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys later today in like a couple hours. Alright, peace out, y'all.